It's a little chilly this morning, isn't it? Fall is in the air. It's 8 o'clock, and as you know, at Forum, we like to get started right on time. Respect your time and our presenters' time. My name's Barbara Bynum, and I'm one of the Forum moderators. I see a lot of regulars in our group this morning. If you aren't a regular and you came because you have a particular interest in Ridgway State Park, let me tell you that we have a whole bunch of great programs, and we can get you on our email list super easily, so you get an email every week telling you about the upcoming program. Speaking of upcoming programs, I'd like to just take a second to highlight that we're so lucky here in Montrose to have such a great state park to the south, but we also have a great national park just to the east in the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, which is celebrating a big anniversary. And so there's a group called Friends of the Black Canyon Gunnison, and they're having a whole bunch of really exciting things leading up to their big anniversary next month. So if you are into state parks and national parks, check that out as well. As someone who is very much into state parks, I'm going to take a little prerogative and just tell you all that I spent last week visiting my parents, and my dad has been a volunteer at Torrey Pines State Reserve, which is like a state park, for over 20 years. And he's getting older, but he and I went on a hike last week together, and he pointed out all the plants, and he remembers the names of this one or the birds of that one. And so I think state parks have a special place in my heart, and I know because you're here today, you probably also care a lot about our public lands. We're so lucky. The Ridgeway is right to the south of us, and this morning we're joined by Derek McLaughlin. Did I pronounce that right?
Close.
Okay, well, who normally I would interview him so I could tell you all about him, but he had a little trouble getting away from his farm this morning, and so we didn't have time for the interview. So he's going to properly introduce himself to you this morning and tell you about his background. Let's give him a real warm welcome.
Good morning. Yes, I did have a little bit of issue on the farm this morning. That's kind of typical, unfortunately, but I'm here now, so thank you for coming out. My name is Derek McLaughlin. I'm one of the rangers over at Ridgway State Park, like she was describing. A little bit about me. I started off in Colorado in 2015 as a seasonal park ranger at Navajo State Park. Has anybody ever been in that area? Okay, if you did, I got one look that's like, I have no idea where that's at. It's in between Pagosa Springs and Durango. It's a small little town in Arborles, about 5% of the state parks in Colorado. The rest is in New Mexico. After that, I got hired on full-time in 2018, where I went to Denver and was in the police academy up there for a year. Thankfully, I was able to get out of Denver, and I got, I guess, basically stationed at 11 Mile State Park and Spinning Mountain State Park near the Fair Play area. 2 years later, 2020, I am at Ridgway State Park, and I've been there ever since, and I absolutely love it. So, first off, who has not been to Ridgway State Park? You haven't? What's taking so long? How long have you been here for?
A year.
A year? Okay. Well, run south and you'll get there. It's
Exactly where it is.
Okay, you know exactly where it is. Well, stop by. Okay, we got a ton of programs going on. I'm just up here. I'm gonna kind of give you guys some information on what we got going on in the park. Some updates. I think last year there was a ranger that was here and she discussed some things that were in the works. So these are kind of like a recap, and then some new programs that we have, some ADA programs that we have as well. So this is the beautiful backdrop that we have with Mount Sneffels. Great place to come out and boat, kayak. All right. So, kind of a little bit of an update. I know this is a dark picture, but this is our new group campground. The next picture that I have is kind of an aerial view, and you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But our group campground is called the Eddy. It is down in our Paco Chupac area. We have the GEF, which is the group event facility. Has anybody by chance used that for any family reunions or get-togethers? Great. So that's right next to there. There was a big open space that we have there next to the parking lot, and we decided to put it there. It is 15 sites, but it can hold up to 100 people. We leave this, we leave this little center area, which is full of gravel for tent pads, but all the way around it is is hookup sites. So this picture was actually just taken the other day. We have the Ridgeway area trails, which is a big biking community, and those trails are directly across from the park. These folks were staying there last week, and it's been a great opportunity for everybody, because typically it's such a sought after park for camping. Everybody wants to reserve it up to 6 months in advance, and so people will wait for that day and they try to get a bunch of sites together for family reunions. We created this site specifically for that. That way you can reserve the entire thing, and it's kind of like your own little pad. You don't have to worry about anybody else getting too rowdy or whatever it may be. We have along with that, this section right here, I can't really tell how dark it is. It's pretty dark, but you'll see here in a second. This is a section for our hammocks. You can put 8 hammocks in there, and it's kind of like a little, a little jungle for hammocks. So this, I really, really like this area right here. We have a big fire pit, and it's kind of like a big get-together area. Tons of picnic tables, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kitchen in there. It's really big. I was surprised the first time I saw it. I was like, I remember camping growing up, and it was nothing like this. You just have a little fire and you're cooking, but this is like a full-on professional-looking kitchen. Also in there, we have a big shower house and a laundry room. So there's lots of amenities there. At the entrance, we do have a dump station. We do have water located. We have some hydrants that are popping up, and then some electrical boxes. So as for the price, I don't know. It's obviously not cheap, but like I said, it's 15 campsites that are around it, and then you can have a bunch of tents on the inside. You would have to call the reservation system, and they'll give you the number. So it's fairly new. This is our second group that we've had on it. That's how new it is. Yeah, let's keep moving. So like I said, here's another area view, a lot better view. This is that shower house, kind of get together area. This is the entrance. Over here is that group event facility where we have a lot of the weddings. Here's the river that runs by, so it's super, super pretty area. This is our employee campground. This was a big thing that we wanted at Ridgeway State Park because we have a ton of volunteers, a ton of employees that come into the summertime and help us out tremendously. Without them, the park would not run. And one of the biggest complaints that we were getting from our staff was we don't feel like we can get a break from this place. So close to the dam is going to be, I guess, more to the south, more towards Ridgeway, up over here. We created this employee campground. It's another 15 sites, and it's very similar to this. We just don't really have that big common area. We do have the shower house and the get-together area right there. So that's been amazing. Obviously, it's pretty dry down here. We try to keep it as natural as possible. We don't want a full-on lawn system. We pull the water for irrigation anyways, but we don't want to have to waste it on our section. Does anybody have any questions about either of these two areas?
You know, it works best if we save all the questions till the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like to keep it as interactive as possible. So, alrighty. So the marina, our marina, we came up with a new name for it. It's the Blue Heron, and that's due because we have a ton on the park. I don't know. Do we have any bird watchers in here? No. No. Okay. Never mind. So we're now renting out paddleboards and kayaks, as you can see right here. Those have been a big hit. We have a lot more kayaks down towards the water for easier access, but those have been a big hit because those things are not cheap, and we rent them out fairly cheap. So it's been a great opportunity. We have 3 pontoon boats that are on our docks. Those have been great as well. I do want to put a little plug out there. The gas is included with the pontoon boat, so if you're driving it around all day, you don't have to worry about spending $50, $60 to refill it. So it is included in that. Those have been a hot commodity the last couple of years, but I like to just throw those out there because it is a great opportunity to get out on the water. We also now have some inflatable tow behinds, such as tubes, and I'm sure you guys have all seen those inflatable hot dogs. Kids love those. They've been a great thing. We just refinished the marina store this spring. If you've been in the marina store, you've noticed that it was extremely small. And we completely knocked down a wall. Ryan, our marina manager, knocked down a wall. It's a whole new system in there, and we got coolers. We're talking about, this is a little iffy, we're talking about selling alcohol there. There's some other state parks that are doing that. We have a lot of snacks. We're talking about even selling hot dogs and grilling some burgers. We have a lot of things that are coming in the works. That's going to be the main area where you go in and you're going to rent out the boats. So if you're interested in that, that's where you go for that. Let's see here. All right. So this is at our swim beach. This is a new ADA tool that we have. This, if I can figure it out, this is called our Moby mat, and this goes all the way up to the marina. This is extremely durable. I think the tank can come over it, but basically it's a mat. Excuse me, I guess I'll bring it closer. It's a mat that goes all the way down into the water. As you can see, it's going in right here. This is designed for individuals that cannot take their wheelchair out on the sand because you'll get bogged down. This right here is basically a floating wheelchair. It's great to get, we're really striving to get more, what's the correct terminology that I'll use? Basically, people that are not able to get out in the water, we want to give them more opportunity, right? And so we've used this quite a few times. It's a little interesting. It's very buoyant, so you definitely have to have two people on both sides, but it's a way to get people into the water that may not have been in the water their entire life or that want to get in. So we can wheel that all the way down. It can go on the sand and go off-road. It's just human powered. Let's see here. And then here's another ADA opportunity. This thing is absolutely massive. I believe it's like 12 to 14 feet long. It's a paddleboard, and it's about 4 feet wide. And I know you're probably thinking, okay, she's on a wheelchair, she's strapped in, what happens if she falls out? This thing is, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's almost impossible to flip. I know when we first got it, we had some people on there jumping side to side. Okay, well, it could still have an opportunity to flip, right? We always have everybody with a PFD on, and then also we do not keep anybody strapped in. That way, if they do flip, they'll float and everything else will sink or it'll tip over. So we try to really break it down to where, what is safety? How can we get everybody out here on the water to enjoy it? And that's a big thing. So that is an extremely cool tool that we have. I wish more people would come out and use it. I just don't think that it was really well displayed. So if you do have anybody that's in a wheelchair and would love to get out there, reach out to us because we have a ton of opportunities. This one in particular is extremely cool, and so are the next couple in my opinion. This one I take a lot of pride in. I created this last year, and this is our ADA fishing opportunity. The reason I came up with this opportunity is because last year, one of the farm issues, my wife got bucked off one of our horses, she broke her back and shattered both her feet. This gave me a whole new perspective of being able to do anything. There was a lot of things that she couldn't do. And so I was like, okay, I love to fish. I look at a lot of our areas, in particular, this one right here, it's a handicap fishing pier. And I thought to myself, it's fun to fish from the shore, but I want to get out in the water. I have a bass fishing background, and I love being on boats. So I started grinding some gears, and I thought about our work barge, which is this right here. We pull all of our buoys and put our buoys out every single year, and then we also have this track chair. So obviously the gears are turning, and I came up with this ADA fishing opportunity. So we load the individual up with the track chair onto our work barge, and we take them out for 2 to 4 hours, depending on how long they want to be out there, just to get out in the water and to fish. And we've only had one. I work with quite a few companies. This gentleman right here, his name's Keith. and he's with Healing Waters. And so this gentleman right here is a veteran. So we just try to get out as many people. There is some stipulations that you have to have. You have to have a handicap placard and show that you have a disability. That was kind of eye-opening to me because we were getting random people that just thought they could take the boat out for free and just have a fishing day. So I don't know why that was the case, but especially when you see all my signs I created, there is a handicap placard. So I was a little confused. But we did this, I would say this was in July or June, and that was the first time that he's been on a boat in over 15 years. So he had a blast. He's looking forward to going out again. I learned a lot from this, taking this gentleman out. A lot of things that I needed to change and a lot of things that we're gonna do to make the program better. So if this is something that you guys are even interested in, maybe even volunteering with, please reach out to me because this is an amazing, fun thing. He did catch some fish. Unfortunately, the rod that he did have, they broke off by the time they got to the boat, but he was ecstatic. It was great to get him out there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else that we have, or who else is going to come out. This is just another picture. I think, I had just caught a fish right after that, so I kind of wish we would have got that on film or a picture or whatnot. But it's all over the reservoir, wherever you want to go. It's not necessarily a guided trip. It's just to wherever you want to go, we're going to take you, you're going to go fishing. We do ask that whoever the individual is, they bring somebody that can help them. My job is basically put you on the fish and to drive the boat. So this gentleman right here was the one that was helping him. And he is a local in Montrose. Here's another opportunity, and this may not be your thing, which is fine, but another disabled hunt opportunity. This in particular, I took over 4 years ago, and previously, and you can still do it, but basically there's 2 tags for 2 seasons. We have 2 rifle buck tags for 2nd season, 2 rifle buck tags for 3rd season. We haven't really been getting too much interest, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just because people aren't wanting to hunt, which is fine. But we've had kids from hunting age all the way up to disabled vets. And then this gentleman, this was his first time actually even deer hunting for a buck. So it's kind of like the fishing program. You got to have somebody that comes with you. I put you on the deer. We have the track chair. Depending on your situation, we have it to where it can even hold your firearm. We put you in blinds. We can drive you around in the vehicle. And it's kind of a little interesting because we start closing our campgrounds down in October, but then we also close down some of our trails because the deer are migrating through. So I'll spend a couple weeks looking for the deer and sending pictures to the hunters to see what they're looking for and whatnot. And we've actually had a kid come out to where he had to blow into a mechanism which would trigger the firearm to go. So we have so many different avenues to help harvest an animal for somebody for the first time it may be. This gentleman, he's returned year after year. He was a Vietnam veteran and just great people. I think that's my favorite thing is just meeting these individuals and just hearing their story and really helping them out where they may not be able to get up in the woods. I did get special access to right below the dam. So after 9/11, they closed that all off to where you cannot hike up there anymore because of terrorist attacks. The BOR is claimed, I guess, that they get quite a few. And obviously we know that that's a big water source for this whole entire area for agriculture. So I got special access. That is where a ton of our deer are. And it's, in my opinion, the safest area. We don't have to close down the trails, and we don't have to worry about hikers in the campgrounds that we do have closed down. Because, of course, as soon as we close down the campsites, that's where all the deer start flooding through, and that's where people want to go up there with their dogs and let them run around. So this is our safest area, and honestly, this is where we get the most deer. They all come off of that Enchanted Mesa that's up there, if you're familiar with it. But If you're interested in that, please let me know. I would love to get more people out. If you know somebody that would love to do this, please reach out to me as well. You do have to draw a Unit 62 tag, and then you also have to do a draw at Ridgeway State Park that ends around the first Friday of September. So we just hit that, but for the future, please let me know. All right, this is a new program that we kind of took on last year. It's kind of in the works. I think Grand Tetons National Park has this, and basically it's share the charity. We want people to get out there and hike to an area with beautiful scenery and just relax. So we put 2 chairs out. One of them is located at Dallas Creek, right off the Marmot Run Trail between Deer Run and the Confluence, which is going to be right here. That's going to be located in the Dallas Creek area. Our next one is going to be off the Sunset Ridge Trail, close to the D-Loop, side of Elk Ridge Campground, and hence the name Sunset Ridge. Amazing sunsets. If you get the opportunity, this one would be my favorite. But we ask that, of course, you take a picture and just share it to social media so we can get more people out there and just using it and just using the park and just getting away from kind of getting away off your phones and just acknowledging the beautiful scenery. I know I say take a picture and share it, but that's just the end piece. So we do move these all across the park, different types of the year. After a couple months, we move them, or each year we move them. Unfortunately, we do have to keep them locked down because people like to walk away with them, which I don't understand why. So this is kind of that sit, snap, share. This is the steps on how to share it. Yeah, that's really all that is. So we have a big water cleanup coming October 5th, I believe. Yes, October 5th. We do this every single year, and we partner with the Uncompahgre Watershed Partnership. And this originally started, I don't know what year it was, but it was a few years back, and it started with the Pawcatuck stream. Well, the guides down there do such a good job of keeping it clean year round. We were finding that there's really not that much trash other than around the fishing ponds. So last year I decided, hey, let's get everybody out on the boat, hence I love to be out on the water, and let's clean up around the reservoir because we get so much runoff from the river coming in that everything just floods the area, and then we just have trash everywhere, unfortunately. So we get a big group that comes out, it's volunteer hours, and we do have prizes at the end. This year, we have Riggs Fly Shop and Gunnison Gorge Anglers and American Rivers. They're kind of co-sponsoring it, so there's going to be prizes at the end. I think the biggest prize is a Patagonia duffel bag, but the goal is we spend about a few hours out there on the reservoir. You're going to have your teams, you're going to walk the shoreline, and you're going to be picking up trash. We're just cleaning it up. Last year, I believe this lady right here, she found a $10 bill, so she got herself a little tip. And then, of course, we find some tires, and then we found a massive carpet, which was interesting to see. It wasn't a rug, it was a full-on carpet. So I don't know what the backstory behind that is, but of course, we're finding pipes, and we're just finding a bunch of trash. So nets, some crawdad traps that people aren't checking and they forget to go and pull them, which is unfortunate. So we find a big spectrum of stuff out there. We didn't get a total weight because we don't have a scale, but we have a big state fed truck, and that was completely loaded to the top. So it's quite amazing with how much trash gets flooded into the reservoir, and it's pretty gross in my opinion. So if you're definitely interested, that's coming up. This next slide, if you want to take your phones, you can scan that, and that's how you can sign up. So this is the group that we had. Here's her $10 bill that she got. We had the mayor of Ridgeway come out, and he helped as well. And it's just a great community. You get to meet a lot of cool people from all over. Some people are just traveling through and they hear about it, and yeah, they join us. So that's coming up October 5th, very soon. We do have coffee, snacks, a bunch of stuff for you guys. So just a great opportunity. This is my contact information. I could honestly talk for hours about everything that we got going on, but I just wanted to keep it pretty short to what we are fresh and new at. So Is there any questions? Hopefully there is.
Oh, we're pretty good with questions
Great.
around here, right?
All right.
Clearly a guy who's passionate about his work. Let's give him a round of applause. I'll start it off. Can you talk a little bit, I've seen on social media just various times some E. coli warnings at the swim beach. What has been the challenge there? What's causing it? And what do you guys do to mitigate it? Or is it just a matter of waiting it out?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I thought about bringing that up, but I didn't want to put everybody to sleep. So basically our swim beach is our only area that we regulate water control. We want to know what the E. coli levels are. We've had 2 spikes this year where they reach above the threshold that we allow. Fortunately, we haven't had anybody get sick, but it's all due to the water runoff. We have a lot of farms around us and we've been getting a lot of rain, and typically we see that at the beginning of the year, which we had. After we get that test, we do 2 more tests, and since I've been there, the test that comes out afterwards is way below the threshold. It's like less than 1. And I think the threshold's like 235 milliliters per 100 or whatever the science is. So it all comes really just from the runoff. So it's not like somebody's going down there and using the restroom in there, but we do keep it take it very serious. We close down the entire swim beach until we get our tests done. We have a water sickness form, so if you're sick, or hopefully your dog shouldn't be down there so it wouldn't be getting sick, we have you fill that out. We can take the legal requirements for that. So I also reach out to Uray County and let their health department know. So if anybody comes into contact, they know how to reach out to us. But every year that's happened, or twice this year, it's just due to water runoff.
That's only happened twice, but you guys did such a good job publishing it. I guess on social media, I thought it was often, but it's great you get the word out just so that families don't go down there expecting to swim and then
Right.
get turned away.
Yeah, and it's kind of mind blowing that we put up a bunch of signs right at the water's edge and you still see people just walk right in. And so we have it in English and in Spanish, so I don't really understand why people would want to get in the water, but that's, yeah.
So it's not so much that they're not allowed to as you don't recommend it?
So that, in particularly the swim beach area where we regulate, you can't be in the water whatsoever.
Okay.
If you want to stand directly on the outside of the buoys or go to a different part of the reservoir, that's the only spot that we regulate. So,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, what else do you guys want to know about the Ridgeland programs they have going?
So what I was wondering was, 2 questions. If you have campsites that are year-round, and what do you have for like service dogs for if they want to get in the water or something like that?
Yeah, so those are great questions. We do have campgrounds that are year-round. We have our A-Loop in Dutch Charlie in the Coda Terrace area. That stays open year-round. That's where our 3 yurts are. And then we have 23 sites there total. And then as of last year, we opened up part of D-Loop up in Elk Ridge. No, I'm sorry, E-Loop. And so that's all in the Dutch Charlie area. My favorite area would definitely be the Elk Ridge area, just because you're more covered by trees. And then we get a lot of ice climbers that come through, and then during the leaf peeping season, that's where everybody kind of stays. So as for your last question, service animals to get into the water, right? So your service animal can get in the water, but the stipulation is that they always have to be on a leash. Okay. Previous years, we've allowed dogs off leash down in our Dallas Creek area, and I think that stems from when the park first opened, and it was kind of more of a local thing. But now that we're seeing a ton of people come in, we're unfortunately seeing dog bites, and then people just not picking up after their dogs, and dogs just running off. So we've really cracked down on the Dallas Creek area of having your dog on a leash, and that's just all over the park in general. So yes, your dog can get in the water, but it has to be on a leash. So yes.
Great, what else? Can you tell us a little bit, I thought it was interesting when the previous director, Kirsten Copeland, explained to us that the park rangers are post-certified peacekeepers, officers. I see you carrying a gun. Can you talk a little bit about that side of your job in terms of your ability to serve as law enforcement?
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
you see?
Absolutely. So, like I said, in 2015, I started off as a seasonal, so I didn't carry anything except pepper spray. Our goal is to not be out there handing out citations. Our goal is to keep nature natural. and, protect our wildlife and protect the people. Along with protecting the people comes some of the other aspects of things, meaning we have a firearm. Like I said, in 2018, I went through the police academy. This is not what I wear on a daily. I have a full-on vest, external carrier, and really, our goal is to just make everybody safe. So we do come across some bad people, unfortunately, and we help out a lot on the highway with state troopers and direct county. So we're fully commissioned officers. A lot of people don't realize that, and then they try to run outside the park when we're trying to pull them over, and it's like, no, we can still stop you. So I'm a statewide officer. I have basically the same jurisdiction as a state trooper, just a little bit different. And yeah, I mean, our goal is to protect everybody and protect the wildlife. So we do get some bears that come into the state park. This year is the most that I've seen since I've been there. But thankfully we have not had any issues with them. They come off that Enchanted Mesa area. I'm sure if you follow us on social media, you've seen the bears swimming across the reservoir. We just recently had one crossing over one of our bridges, and there are people right there, and of course they gotta stop and take the picture and whatnot. But I mean, it makes great pictures for us to post on social media, but I would recommend just kind of getting out of there. But yes, fully commissioned officer. We have two in my position, one senior ranger, and then the park manager, John Freeborn. So, and then we're looking at getting a couple more. But our biggest thing is just volunteers and temporary rangers and temporary help. So.
Thanks. I got like 10 more questions, but I'm going to kind of get you guys have a chance. Thanks, Julianne.
I applaud you for your employee campground.
Yeah.
I know, with Forest Service and BLM and your agency, it's hard to hire people when they can't afford living in our area. So I'm assuming that has improved your chances of getting employees?
It has, actually. That's, well, first off, thank you. I think that was a big, I don't want to say issue that we had on recruitment, but I think housing in general, with maybe the national parks, state parks, and federal, all that kind of stuff, the housing is a big thing. We get a lot of retired folks that would love to come out and be camp hosts, or they just want to volunteer for 24 hours, a week. And we're filling up our campground pretty quick, and that was taking up a lot of camping opportunity for the general public. And also, it was taking away a lot of funds too, to help our state parks. So when we built that, that was a great thing. People are all over the state and country that are in the whole camp host or volunteer, section. They're hearing about it, and they're like, okay, you got a great opportunity. We want to come out there. So I do still think we could do a little bit better, but I think we also have to keep in mind of our natural resources, and we don't want to turn our state park into a concrete jungle. So, but yes, we do have that opportunity. So thank you.
I work with a lot of high school kids, especially in this area, who would like to be what you are.
Okay.
But it seems like the negative is they have to start out as temps. What is the procedure? What's the system, and how hard is it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One thing that I kind of didn't bring up is I'm an out-of-stater, so sorry. I come from Missouri, and I went to Northwest Missouri State, and my degree was recreation and park management. You can also have a wildlife degree or whatever it may be. Our agency asks that you have a 4-year degree in a natural resource or park management type of section. And basically we have 42 state parks. We have the wildlife side of things too. In my opinion, there's a ton of opportunity to get out there. I reached out to a couple state parks and was like, hey, this is something that I want to do for my career. What can I do to become a seasonal ranger or a park ranger in general? And thankfully, one of the guys reached back out to me, and he's like, hey, let's do an interview. If you do great, we'll bring you out to Colorado, which is why I ended up at Navajo. I spent 3 years there learning kind of everything, the do's and don'ts of the job, and just getting more experience. But it's not necessary. You don't technically have to have the park ranger or wildlife experience. I had a guy that went through the academy with me, and he came from CDOT. So totally two different spectrums, but he had the degree because that's what he wanted to do, and he applied for it. So you do have to be 21 to be a park ranger as a seasonal, as a temporary, and that's just legality reasons. There is the law side of it too. So we do a big training once you do get hired on as a seasonal. That way, we're not just going to throw you out there and be able to figure it out yourself. So I would say if you have people that are interested, come out to the park and talk with me, talk with one of the rangers. We do go to some of the career things at the high schools, but you have my contact information as well. Send them my way. If they're 18, 19 or whatever, and they want to come do a ride along with me, I'm all open arms for that. I actually had a guy come out from Kansas a couple months ago, which was a haul, but this is what he wants to do. So getting your face out there, getting your name out there, and just having that on their resume can go a long way.
What a cool job. Can you tell us a little bit about, here, I'll let you in and I'll cut you.
I have a question about the marina
Yes.
and how you regulate it in terms of pollution, noise, and safety.
Okay, I think I understand that question. So pollution-wise, we have a great volunteer. I can't preach enough about our volunteers, and they're always down there picking up trash. We do obviously have a bunch of trash cans within the vicinity, but some people just like to leave their stuff. So right now, every Thursday we go down there and we'll rake the swim beach with our tractor, and that'll pull up any trash that's up underneath. Any debris that we have, any rocks or whatever it may be. But as for the trash, we don't get too much down there. So, okay, for the oil. So we don't have that issue. If we do, at our marina area, we do have a hazmat, gathering mat that we have, and we have had to use it before, and it's quick. It's very quick. So we disperse that out around the entire area and then completely absorb it. So we haven't had any issues of that failing.
Maybe she's thinking of the power boats that are docked and
Right.
they're just, running, and are they not a significant impact on the water
No,
quality?
it's really not. I mean, you'll see occasionally on these two strokes, if you're familiar with two strokes, that take oil and gas mixture. But no, we don't see a huge impact with that at all, which is great. So.
You do allow motorboats on Ridgeway, but it feels to me like it's more of a kayak paddleboard reservoir, or is it, what's your impression of the usage? What kind of watercraft are you seeing?
I would say we're definitely seeing a lot more, in today's age, a lot more kayaks and paddleboards, or paddleboards, excuse me. But we're still seeing a ton of boats, a couple hundred a weekend. So weekends are our busiest time of year. It's completely shut down right now on how many people we're getting, obviously because the water's 65 degrees. But no, I would say we still see a ton of boats. Lots of sailboats. We just had a sailboat race a couple days ago. So that's a group out of Telluride. But no, we get a ton of boats, and we still get a lot of paddleboards. And we did set away an area over in our Dallas Creek area, which is a big area, and it's a no-wake zone. And that's typically where we see most of our paddleboards and canoers and kayakers. So, and then what was the rest of your question?
Well, just thinking in terms of the safety part of it.
Yeah, for with the oil in the water. Yeah, like I said.
The oil, but just in terms of the motorboats and paddleboards.
So where our swim beach is in particular, you can move your boat through there, but it's all no wake speed. So, and we do have a big buoy system around the swim beach area in particular, and then outside of that, it says no boats beyond this point. So we try to keep it as safe as possible. Obviously, it'd be a freak accident if a boat went in there, but we haven't had that yet. So it's extremely safe in that area. That entire cove where the marina is all no wake. So unfortunately, we do get some people that blast through there, but they get themselves a ticket. So
It's naturally set up pretty nicely for you, isn't it?
it is.
How about aquatic nuisance species? And, CPW's done such a great job of trying to keep those mussels out of our water system, but we've all heard the news that Grand Junction has found some. So what is it looking like at Ridgeway? What are you doing to prevent that invasive species?
Yeah, so Ridgeway is 100% clean water, which we take pride in. My last state park was probably one of the dirtiest, if not the worst, invasive species area. So I take pride in the fact that our water is extremely clean, especially for agriculture reasons. But really just got to keep up on my guys that are in our booth inspecting the boats. None of the protocols really changed. The reservoir that has the zebra mussels is Highland Lake State Park, which is over in Fruita. We did do a big operation where we put some kind of, don't quote me on it, but copper fungicide type thing into our waters, and it didn't affect any of the wildlife, but it didn't help. It didn't take away the zebra mussels. So this year they're completely draining it, but unfortunately they have found that the zebra mussels have made it into the Colorado River. So I don't know what that means. We have the biologists for that, but it's really kind of a losing battle at that point. Our biggest thing is we just can't let it get into our reservoirs now, especially the big agricultural ones, because it'll just spread like wildfire. So everything is basically staying the same. Highline, they are closed, but they're deconning every boat that was leaving the reservoir. Even when they come into our lake, we see that it's from Highline, and we're doing a full-on inspection. We definitely want to know. If it's decon, that's great, but it's just really making sure that my guys have their eyes on and they're taking the job serious and fully inspecting the boat. So.
And I think as we bring on that water treatment plant south of Ridgeway that's going to pull drinking water out of Ridgeway Reservoir, it's going to be even more important to keep our reservoir free from those
and
mussels.
if you look at the Great Lakes, they're completely infested with them. And the turbines and everything that are on the dams, it's causing millions and millions of dollars worth of damage. And we don't want that to happen. So.
Do you find most people are pretty compliant with your inspectors on getting their tags and getting the system to bring a boat in the water? But you're not inspecting kayaks, are you? You're inspecting boats on trailers.
So we are inspecting. So once you put a motor on anything, we're going to inspect it. But yes, kayaks are an exempt. We have a list of 10 vessels that are exempt, and that is one of them. But we're inspecting basically the motors, because the motor, our goal is clean, drain, and dry. And there's a lot of unverified water that are getting into these motors. So just because you lower the motor and nothing comes out doesn't mean that there's not a ton of water inside for your inboard, outboards, or your inboards. So yes, we are inspecting them. People will throw trolling motors on their kayaks.
Okay, so you're saying those mussels aren't like grabbing onto the bottom of my paddleboard and going for a ride across the state?
I mean, they technically can, but it's going to have to be sitting in the water for a while.
Okay, so
Yes.
they're living in like little hidden spaces where water.
They love nooks
Okay,
and
gotcha.
crannies and angles and dark places. So anything that can hold water and anything that they can attach to, but it takes time for that to happen. So you'll see my inspectors out there, they're going to be running their hands across the boat. They're going to have their flashlights out, looking at holes, really just keying off on them. So, but they are a big threat, and we're starting to see New Zealand mud snails kind of bounce around too. Obviously, they came from New Zealand, but they came over with the fishermen on the boots. So we do have a cleaning station down at Papo Chupac to clean that up too. But I've seen in the last month, I think 2 more locations pop up with New Zealand mud snails. So.
How about field trips? I know we had a great field trip in maybe 4th grade. Are you guys still hosting school groups, given that school resources are limited? Is that still something
Oh,
you do?
absolutely. We have a ton of students come out, and lots of fishing opportunities at our ponds. We just did, I think, a 2-week bird banding or a week-long bird banding, and so the schools are coming out and helping out with that, seeing the cycles of bluebirds. We did catch a pygmy owl, which is pretty cool. And we throw bands on them so we can track them. Right now, this time of year, we are seeing just basically, we're just doing school groups. And so I'm not sure if any of the school groups are going to come out and help clean, but I talked with our interp yesterday, and it's just all school groups right now. But throughout the summer, she has the summer series where Fridays and Saturdays, there's basically a presenter that will come out, and we get quite a big showing. So it's pretty cool. And it's all over the spectrum of what the program may be.
a lot of educational opportunities there.
You know, and one thing real quick that I didn't talk about is we're in the works of getting dark sky certified. And so if you're not familiar with that, basically there's a limit of how much light can pollute the air. And so we're going through right now, changing all of our lights on systems to where it's just not going to be, like Los Angeles and extremely bright. So it's an in-depth process. It takes a long time, but it really helps with, light pollution. So.
Asking about the fishing, are there still smallmouth bass in the reservoir?
Yes, there is smallmouth bass. This is the first year that we're actually not going to have the tournament. I don't know why, but they're not seeing the numbers that they previously have because there's been such a dent put in from the tournament that we have every year. This is the first year that we're not going to have it though. Along with smallmouth bass, we actually just put in, I want to say 6,000 walleye. So that's a new game fish that'll be out there. Those were put in, I believe, in May, and it's going to take a couple of years for them to grow, but we did put in walleye. And along with the smallmouth bass, one of our big goals was to not let them get into the Mojave River below the dam. So we put in a couple $1 million fish screening net around the drain area, and if you guys have a boat and you've been out there, you've probably seen it. But basically, we were allowed to come to complete fill with the water this year and allow the water to spill over. As for previous years, it's been, I think, my understanding, quite a long time that we weren't able to spill over because we were afraid that the walleye were going to go down in that hole and get into the river system. Once they get into the river system, they completely take over. So we put in that fish screen net, and that's allowed us to completely fill up and with no issues.
Seems like my fishing experience there has been just catching stockers.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised about the walleye. I didn't expect enough food in the reservoir to experience them to grow to any size.
It's going to take a while. I mean, obviously it's colder water, and there's kind of a slow growing fish. But yes, there is a lot of stockers in there because if you look at the structure of the reservoir itself, there's really not much. It's kind of like a silt bottom. There's no vegetation, which is one of those invasive species things, and it's just kind of all rocks. So our agency spends quite a bit of time on throwing in a lot of stockers. But we got to remember also that, yes, this is a state park and a reservoir, and fishing's, a great thing. But what is that water specifically designed for? It's for agriculture and other uses. So it's just a benefit on top of having that water. So I look at my last park that I was at and how much vegetation was there, the quality of fishing. It was a gold medal reservoir, but along with that came all the invasive stuff, and that was more of a pain than what it's worth. So I'm not a biologist, so I can't really answer how quick they're going to grow or what the food is going to be for them. But they wouldn't have put them in there if they don't think that they're going to thrive. So Eric is our biologist, and he does a great job on that kind of stuff.
Anyone else?
Ridgeway's got a little bit of everything, doesn't it?
I've got one more question here.
Okay.
How do you determine how low you're going to bring the water down and how much you're going to release from the reservoir, and for how long you're going to have it for the winter?
Yeah, that is a good question, and really what it comes down to is Tri-County Water. So all that land is owned by BOR, Bureau of Reclamation. We manage it. The dam itself is Tri-County Water. So there's 3 different organizations right there. And Tony at the dam, he's really kind of the call for that. So I don't have that answer. I can get you that answer if you reach out to me. He'd be the one. But we did just put in a big turbine system that was there. I say we, but everybody did. And so it's kind of interesting to see how much electric's generated off of that. And then I would say right now, Last time I looked at the water was, let's see, Sunday, and we were having 115 CFS leaving. And I think we had 95 coming in. So now we're gonna start going down. But this is the most full that I've seen it since I've been there. And it's holding longer than what I've seen it too. I don't know if that's because of how much rain we've had. I'm sure that's a big thing. But typically this time of year, it's already pretty low. I think our swim beach was closed Labor Day weekend last year because there was no water. So there's a lot of stipulations that go into it, but ideally Tri-County Water is the one that calls for it, and it's whatever the farmers are needing to. So there's a lot of variables.
Maybe it's time for another water presentation at Forum. We can get an update on Project 7 and all that.
How does your day use versus your overnight camper use percentages kind of play out roughly?
Well, we have, I believe, 293 campsites. Once, the Memorial Weekend happens, that's kind of our kickstart. Obviously for summer and all that and whatnot. It's usually Memorial to Labor Day weekend. I would say we're always full. It's really hard to get a campsite unless somebody, cancels. So that's typically always full the entire summer. Our day use is pretty crazy sometimes, especially Dallas Creek area. When the water's lower, that entire area will be flooded with vehicles, cars, families having barbecues and whatnot. And then just down at Papachupak, we got the fishing opportunities. And then at the marina, we have 2 parking lots that are always full. And I would say the last couple of years, and this could have been even before I got there, but we're starting to see more and more people after COVID. And our day use area is starting to get flooded. I don't even know what capacity would be, but since I've been there, we've never had to turn anybody away from coming into our day use, but we basically ran out of parking, and it's kind of like, well, you're gonna have to wait up at our visitor center. If you want to park up there, you're fine, but you're gonna have to walk all the way down. So it depends. Holiday weekends, we're absolutely slammed. But yeah, there's a ton of people that come out there. It wouldn't be a slow day if it wasn't over 2,000 people in a day, if that. So.
And if you're just coming out for day use and want a picnic, do you need reservations for a particular site, or is it just kind of first come, first serve?
So you can't have a campsite unless you have a reservation to camp there. But we do have a first come, first serve area near Mears Bay, which is right next to the marina. You can see it from the highway. I would say get there sooner than later, because we have a lot of families that'll come and they'll just kind of throw their stuff there and come back later. But it's a very popular area. We do have some other picnic areas down in Papachupak. We just have a big one that we took an old volleyball court out of, and we made that into a picnic area. You can reserve that. Otherwise, it's first come, first serve. We have the GEF as well, and then we have multiple spots down at Dallas Creek along the shorelines. We have two or three different spots down there. So I would say 98% of it is first come, first serve.